Hi, hello, it's Cassie here from Modern Marketing Spark. Now today is day 3 of my 5 in 5 Facebook ad lives where I'm answering some of the most commonly asked questions about Facebook ads. So we've had Monday, we talked about resources and skills. Yesterday I talked about how much should you budget for Facebook ads, and that was an interesting one. And today I'm going to talk about some of the biggest Facebook ad mistakes that I've seen. Now I started making a list of Facebook ad mistakes and I filled a whole sheet of paper, so I'm going to try and keep this to 10 minutes. I want to keep this quite short, but I am also I really love your questions and feedback as well. So as you join the call, let me know who you are and where you're watching from, and I'd love to know your questions on Facebook ads. So hello. So I'm going to jump straight in because I have got a big list here of very common mistakes that people make with Facebook ads. Now, the problem with making some of these mistakes is it can really be the difference between your ads working and being effective and them not working and you wasting time and money. So I don't want anyone to be wasting time and money on Facebook ads because they're just making one mistake or a few mistakes. The other thing that I see a lot when I'm working with clients is that people are trying out Facebook ads. It's actually quite easy to put together a Facebook ad, but what the challenging part is the Rubik's Cube is actually getting the ad to perform well. And actually next week I'm going to be running a Facebook ad boot camp where I'm going to show you how to create a high performing Facebook ad. So you'll avoid all of the problems and mistakes I'm going to talk about today. And I'm going to show you how to set things up in the right way, how to write your copy, how to find good images, how to get your targeting right, how to put your whole process together in a way that your ads are going to be effective. So hi, good to see some people joining the call today. Let me know who you are, just say hello, and also let me know your questions. So let's jump straight in, and I'm going to have to look at my list for some of the most common Facebook mistakes. So number one most common mistake with Facebook ads is using the boost post. What can I say about boost posts? Just please don't boost your posts. Why? Because with boost post, Facebook is going to get you the cheapest, lowest quality traffic. Now, you don't want the cheapest, lowest cost traffic. You actually want targeted, more likely to, sorry, I keep getting error messages, more likely to take action traffic, and people who are potentially going to be your customers and clients at the end of the day, and people are going to want to take the next step with you. So boost post, you may as well just throw your money out the window, to be honest. I honestly just do not use the boost post, especially because the ad manager, you don't have to use the power editor. The ad manager is very easy to use, and you'll get much better traffic and better quality of traffic and better results by using the ad manager. So number 2 is not using targeting properly. Hi guys, hi, great to see so many of you joining the call. Just put a comment in the box, let me know who's here so I can say hello, and type in any questions as we go along. More interactive, the more fun. So number 2 is not targeting properly. And what do I mean by that? It's quite often when people are putting Facebook ads up, they're putting their ad out to everybody. And what that means is that Facebook can't really help you if you don't tell it who you want to target. So Facebook does need a bit of direction. It's a bit like going on a journey and not putting the postcode in the sat nav. You've got to give Facebook some direction, and actually Facebook is working for you to help you find the best quality of traffic with your Facebook ads, but you have to give it a bit of guidance. So you need to use your targeting, and there are some fantastic tools for targeting your Facebook ads. Number 3 is using the same ads with both cold and warm traffic. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is quite often you'll create a Facebook ad and then just go blasting that out, say without really targeting, but also without really thinking. Now, there's lots of different ways you can slice and dice your Facebook ads, but there's a very big difference between someone that knows nothing about you, they've never heard about you, you've got no credibility in their eyes whatsoever, and people who are maybe have been to your website or have already met you or are fans of your Facebook page. Big difference between those two different groups of people. But if you run the same ad to those two groups of people, it's only going to work 50% of the time, isn't it? Oh, hi, Marius. Oh, it's George. Hi, George. Hello. So think in your mind about ads for warm traffic versus ads for cold traffic, and make sure you separate those out. We'll talk about testing in a moment. So number 4 is using the wrong objective. And where people get confused with Facebook ads is there's a lot of different objectives when you first set up your ad campaign. And where people get confused is between the web traffic and conversions. Now, if you pick web traffic, what that means is you want to get more traffic to your website. So that's quite straightforward. If you pick conversions, then what you want people to take an action. You want them to convert in some way. So you want them to sign up for a webinar or sign up for one of your freebies, or you want them to take some action. So you want them to convert. Now, web traffic on Facebook is much cheaper than conversion traffic. And the difference is because if you think about it like a circle, you've got the whole world as sort of the outside of the circle, and then you've got an inner circle which is more qualified, targeted traffic, and then you've got a smaller circle in the middle which is your ideal clients and customers. So when you just use the objective of traffic, just traffic, Facebook's going to go and find people who are likely just to click through to your website. So it's going to be people within that wider world. Now, if you pick conversion as your objective, Facebook's actually going to have to work a lot harder, and this is where it's going to cost you more with the clicks. You're going to reach a smaller group of people, but they're more likely to take the action that you want them to take. So don't ask me how Facebook does this, but Facebook will find people who are more likely to sign up for your webinar or download your freebie based on their habits. So there's a really big difference between web traffic and conversions. So don't get those two mixed up. Now, mistake number 5 is targeting too big or too small an audience. Now, what is an ideal audience size? That's another thing that people always ask. I would suggest that you always pick an audience between 250,000 to maximum 1 million. And there's different trains of thought, and again, you have to test these things out. There's no set in stone rule. But I always, for my particular, whenever I'm running campaigns for myself or my clients, we always try and keep each targeting group between 250,000, and we stick to between 250,000 and 1 million. If it goes a bit over 600,000, that's fine. But what you don't want is to be running an ad to 3 million people, because that's if you think about the big circle, that's like trying to run an ad. It'd be like putting an ad on an international newspaper, say, or like running an ad for your business, whatever you do, say on the Huffington Post, and you've got 3 lines of text. It's just not going to be seen. It's going to be so diluted. Too small an audience. Now, this, I have seen this happen as well, where either with custom audiences or with very localized businesses, where people say, I just want leads within my town. I just want to find people within my town. And we put the postcode in, and it's maybe coming up with, say, 2,000 people. Now, Facebook is an American company, so you might get away with that in some of the American towns, but here in the UK, when you're targeting, those sorts of numbers are going to be too low. And actually, Facebook probably won't even run the ad. It will say, your group is too low. So the way that we get around that is to maybe clump together, if you're in the UK, is to clump together some towns that are near to each other that are bigger. So you get those sort of 3 smaller circles, which makes a big enough area that your ads can run. But you've got to have enough of an audience that you can get some traction. So don't run an ad to too big an audience or too small an audience. Number 6 mistake, and this is a really, really common one, but an easy one to fix, is putting multiple ads in one ad set. So there's a hierarchy within Facebook ad campaigns. You've got the campaign level at the top, then you've got ad sets is the next level down, and then the level under that is the actual individual ads. So you want to be testing ad sets, and you want to be testing ads as well. So if you put too many ads, if you put all of your ads into one ad set, then you can't test because they're all in the same bucket, as it were. So what I recommend is when you're setting up your ad campaigns, you want to have, let's say you're testing 10 different parameters, you want 10 ad sets. Otherwise it's going to be really, really hard for you to know what's working, what's not working. So that takes me on to this, slightly related to what we talked about yesterday in terms of how much to spend. Another mistake is not spending enough, and particularly at the beginning of your campaign. Now I said yesterday that you could test a campaign for say $80 and you split that into a $40 and a $40. You'd have one ad set, you'd spend $40 and you'd have $40 in the other ad set. So you've got A and B and you're testing A against B. Now that's only, those of you who are really good at maths will know that's only 2. A plus B is 2. And I've said you need to test 10 ad sets. So depending on how big your campaign is and your objectives and your budget and how much you're going to make on the back end, because remember that's really important too, you need to have a think about how much budget do you have and how much of that testing can you do. Now if you have got a limited budget, and I know some people have, if you have got a limited budget, you still want to only test 2 things at a time. So what that means is it's going to take you much longer. So you're going to have to test over a much longer period of time, because you can only test A against B with say your $80. And then what you might do in a couple of weeks time is you might test B against C, and then you can test C against A, and you'll go like that. But as I say, it will take you quite a long time to do all that testing. If you do have enough budget, you can test 10 ad sets up front, and then you'll find that A and F are the 2 that perform best, and that's where you're going to put your budget moving forward. So there's always a way to make these things work, but don't make the mistake of trying to test 10 things in one ad set with a really low budget, because you just won't get any useful information back from that. And then number 7 mistake is not tracking your ads. Oh gosh, and I was talking to somebody yesterday who was talking about this. We were talking about Facebook ads, and I asked her how the ads were going, and she said, you know, I don't know, I've put the ads up and I haven't gone back and looked at them. Oh, that's such a sort of a no-brainer mistake to make, isn't it? And understandable, I suppose, in some ways, but if you're going to put money into ads, please go back and track that they're working or not working, because if they're not working, you want to switch them off. If they are working, you want to scale up the ad, scale up the budget. And I'm going to talk tomorrow about tracking your numbers in your Facebook ad campaign. So tomorrow's Facebook Live is going to be all about which numbers should you track. And when you go into the ad manager, the dashboard, and you look at all the reports that you can generate, it is a bit overwhelming, because it's a bit like flying an aeroplane. You have all these different numbers and percentages and columns everywhere, and it is a bit like Google Analytics. You think, oh my gosh, there's so many different things. But you actually only really need to track 3 or 4 key metrics to know whether your ad campaigns are working and to check all your split testing. So that's what I'm going to talk about tomorrow on tomorrow's Facebook Live, same time, same place. But please, 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 if you're running ads, make sure that you are tracking how they're doing. Don't just leave them. And I suppose another mistake to add into that is to make sure that you either cap the budget or cap the time period that the ads are running for. You don't ever want to put an ad up and just let it run and not have an end point. So you can there's 2 ways you can limit your Facebook ads. You can either put a date range, you can say I want the ad to run today for 7 days, and you put the end point, or you can set a lifetime budget and you can say I only want to spend £1,000 or $1,000 in a month, and you cap that. And once Facebook has spent that $1,000, the campaign will switch off automatically. Or you can have the end point as well, the date point as well. So make sure that you have those caps in place to protect yourself. Number 8, if you're running conversion ads, if your objective is conversions and you're running conversion ads, you must use conversion tracking. And that's the dreaded pixel that everyone fears, the Facebook pixel, but it's just a little piece of code like a cookie that you put on a website. It tracks all the traffic to your website, and you can then run custom audiences based on those people. Now, here's one of the problems that can happen. If you run a conversion campaign and you don't have the conversion, the tracking pixel in place, you're actually going to get website traffic. So remember I talked about the difference between website traffic and conversion traffic? If you don't have that conversion pixel in place, Facebook's just going to give you website traffic. So you could be paying a lot more for your clicks and your leads, but getting the lower quality traffic. So don't make that mistake, because that really is just wasting money. Number 9 is not testing images. So again, when we talked about split testing, your A versus B might be image A and image B. Now, there's been loads of trainers have thought about different types of images to use on Facebook. And again, it depends whether you've got warm traffic or cold traffic. If you're marketing to warm traffic, people that already know, like and trust you, especially if you're remarketing or marketing to, to your one of your own audiences, then you can do things like using your picture or your own branding, because people will be familiar with that. But if you're marketing to cold traffic, they have no idea who you are, putting your picture or your branding isn't going to make any difference whatsoever. You might as well be better to have a really compelling, quirky image or something that's going to stand out in the newsfeed instead. So make sure that you are testing your images. Number 10 is to test your colours too. Now, this is something that I heard on a webinar recently, and it's something, it sounds obvious when you hear it, but it is a mistake that people make. Now, just think about the colours. What colours is Facebook? It's blue and white, isn't it? So what you don't want to do is you don't want to use blue and white in your ads, because what will happen is when people are skimming through their newsfeed, your ad's not going to pop out. Your ad's going to just look like part of the newsfeed, and then people just won't see you. So what you need to do is have colours that really pop and that contrast with that blue and white. Some people like black and white, because the black and white, it might not look as nice, but again, when people are going through the newsfeed, black and white does stand out. Or you can just have you can try different colours. And I know some of the big marketers, the digital marketers of the world, actually test yellow against orange. So they'll have ad A is yellow and ad B is orange, and that would be one of the parameters that they test, down to that level of detail. So I'm not saying that you necessarily have to do that, but just think really carefully when you're putting your images together for your ads about the colours that you're using. So mistake number 11 is not split testing. So just putting one ad up and hoping it works is just crossing your fingers. The other thing to mention about split testing with Facebook ads is whether you should use somebody's picture versus more of a graphic, a line drawing type of picture, whether something quirky. Again, the answer is you've got to test it. It used to be that we were always advised to use pictures of happy people, especially women. Happy women were the holy grail of Facebook advertising imagery, but I think people have maybe got slightly jaded because there's so many stock pictures of happy women. You actually start to see the same pictures popping up all over the place, and again, you maybe don't want to use your own picture if you're not marketing to people that know you. So you have to test these things out, but make sure that you are testing your images, you're testing your copy, you're testing your call to action. That's really important too, and your targeting, because I found I find this all the time, that some of the interest groups that I target really like certain type of pictures, and other interest groups like others. And after a while, when you've run your ads long enough and you've run enough ads, you'll get to know that target group A, they respond really well to the happy women image, whereas target group B, they actually prefer something quirky or a line drawing or more of a cartoony type of image. But you need to find that out for your own market, because sometimes you can guess which you think is going to work best, and it doesn't happen like that at all. Not predictable at all. So mistake number 12 is not writing compelling copy. Now, if you were with me on the broadcast on Monday, or you've watched the replay of Monday, talked about some of the skills and resources that you need to run Facebook ads, and copywriting is right up there, probably at the top. So yes, you can have a funky image, but if you don't have a compelling hook to get people to look at your ad and to click through, you're going to really, really struggle. So make sure that you do put a lot of thought into that copy. If you're struggling, I'm going to be running next week a Facebook ad boot camp. So if you're interested in that, type FAB in the comments, F-A-B, and I'm going to show you next week how to set up a high-performing Facebook ad campaign. And all of the things that we're talking about, all these mistakes and all of the resources and skills that you need, I'm going to cover all of that next week in 5 days. So by next weekend, you'll have a high-performing Facebook ad campaign up and running. So just type FAB in the comments and I'll send you the details. So number 13, big mistake that I see again quite often is when people put ads together, they're focusing on what they've got to offer rather than what it is that people want. So I hope you can see the difference with that. And I'll give you an example. And actually, I've used this in one of my case studies. I worked with a client who was running Facebook ads, and the ads were quite good, but they weren't getting good results. And the reason, when I say the ads were good, the imagery was good. And when I had a look at the campaigns, the reason the ads weren't working was because they were talking about a new piece of equipment they had in their practice, which they were really excited about. Now, I don't know about you, but are you excited when you need a service, whether it's, you've got a problem with your feet or something wrong with your teeth, or maybe you want to get your hair done? Do you care about the equipment that the company's using to solve your problem? No, not unless you're very excited about that sort of thing. Most of us don't really care. I don't care what the hairdresser does to my hair and what equipment they use and whether it's the latest exciting things off the runway or whatever. If I look good when I walk out of the hairdressers, that's all that's important to me. I don't care what the machine's called, or if you've got a new type of hairdryer. And it's the same if you've got a problem with your feet. I don't care what your machine's called, but if I've got sore feet and you can make my feet feel better, then I'm going to be a customer and I'm going to tell all my friends about how amazing you are and your services. So the ads need to reflect that. So what we did is we changed the ads. They were talking about this new whizzy dizzy piece of machinery, and we changed it to actually talking about the problems that the potential patients have with their feet. And guess what? A $50 ad, that's all they spent on the ad, was $50 on the clicks. They made $2,000. They got 6 new clients from the ad, just from changing the way that we'd put the copy and the way that we'd targeted the ad. So $50 was spent and they made $2,000 just by making that change. So that's a simple thing again to fix if you think about things in the right way. So number 14 is, actually I think I've covered that. So number 14 is not tracking with pixels, and we covered this a little bit when I talked about the conversions. So what I recommend as well, quite often what happens is somebody puts together a Facebook ad campaign, they start running it, and then they find out about the Facebook pixel, the tracking pixel, and put it on their site. But by then they've already been running the ad campaign for a certain amount of time, so you've lost that traffic in a way. And what people don't know about the Facebook pixel, which is actually a fantastic benefit, is that you can put the pixel on your website to capture the traffic to your website. You can capture 6 months worth of traffic with that Facebook pixel. So you can actually capture 180 days worth of back traffic. Well, sorry, not back traffic, but you can. So what I recommend, the mistake is to not put the pixel onto your website straight away. So if you've got a website, and especially if it's a new website, the first thing you should do is put the Facebook pixel on, even if you're not planning to run any ads yet, because you can collect 6 months worth of data. So I always say to my clients, whatever you do, put the Facebook pixel onto your website, get it onto those pages so that you can collect all of that information. Okay, any questions on Facebook ad mistakes? As So say tomorrow, same time, same place, I'm going to be talking about the numbers that you need to track with your Facebook ad campaigns. And on Friday, and I've forgotten what I'm talking about on Friday, I shall check and put it in the box. So yeah, tomorrow we're going to talk about which metrics you should be tracking. As I say, you don't need to track everything, you just need to track 3 or 4 sort of key metrics. And I've got a question here. I've seen many adverts in Europe using some English words. Would help some foreign language words used in UK. So I'm not sure what the question is. Are you asking should you use foreign language words in your ads? Using some English words would help some foreign language words used in the UK. Sorry, I'm not sure what you're asking there. Do you mean should you use... Okay, so yeah, interesting question. This is from George. George is asking, should you use foreign language in your ads? Yeah, if you're targeting European countries, definitely. And I know with the business, George is in the short-term let business in Luton. So yeah, if you've got people coming from other European countries to Luton, yeah, absolutely use foreign languages. But then make sure with your targeting, you're targeting the countries that speak those languages, because it's no good putting Romanian into an ad unless it's going to Romania. So I hope that makes sense. Any other questions for me on Facebook? Mistakes or questions about Facebook ads? I'm going to wrap up there. And as I say, next week I'm going to show you how to build a high-performing Facebook ad campaign by the weekend. So if you're interested in that, type FAB into the comments and I'll send you all the details. And I'll see you tomorrow to talk about which numbers, which metrics you should be tracking when you're running really efficient and high-performing Facebook ad campaigns. Thanks so much, guys. Take care. Bye.